We've all been to a restaurant where they have provided chopsticks for us. Whether this be hoo-ha, Daimaru, or Imperial, most people decide to opt out and use a fork, which is perfectly fine. Learning how to use chopsticks can be very beneficial, as if you go to a certain restaurant, it may be more appropriate to use chopsticks rather than a fork. I've known how to use chopsticks since I was a little kid. Because my family is Vietnamese, my mom prepares a lot of Vietnamese dishes that require the use of chopsticks. So if I wanted to eat, I had to learn. It wasn't that hard once you got the hang of it. Today I'm going to be teaching you the history, how to use them, and the proper etiquette when you're using them. Before today, I didn't really know the background or the history behind chopsticks. The idea of them started out as literal twigs. They just used 2 twigs to pick up food. By 400 BC, chopsticks developed in China. They were low on resources there, so they had to figure out a way to save on fuel. They figured if they cut the meat small, then they could cook it faster, therefore saving on fuel. Because they cut it so small, they didn't have to use a knife, so they used chopsticks to eat. By 500 AD, the use of chopsticks spread to other Asian countries such as Vietnam, Korea, and Japan. However, the Japanese only used chopsticks for religious purposes. And despite common belief, Thais do not use chopsticks on a daily basis. Lastly, during the Chinese dynasty, they often used silver chopsticks. They believed that if they ate with those, then if they came into something poisonous, then it would turn black. However, this would prove harmful, as if the chopsticks came into contact with certain foods, then it would release hydrogen sulfide. Now that we know the history, we can get into actually using them. So there are many different ways to use them. I hold mine like I hold a pencil. My dad holds his differently. It just depends, whatever works for you. So the first way to do it is if you have never used chopsticks. There's a rubber band on top of your chopsticks here. So you can just pinch and pick up your food. So it's pretty easy. And then if you need an easier way, you can take the red wrapper that it came in, and you can fold it in half. And start rolling it up. By rolling it up, it'll create a little wedge that you can put under the rubber band, which means you can literally just pinch to hold. It'll look like this. You can just put it under your rubber band, and you can just pinch it, which makes it a lot easier. If that's a little easy for you, you can take the rubber band off, and this is the most common way. This is probably the easiest way to learn how to actually use them. So, if you take the first chopstick and take your thumb and pointer finger and pinch it in the middle here, point it at a downwards angle, so it's like this. Then take your second one and put it through the gap so that it's parallel and pointing down. Then take your middle finger and put it under the second one to support it. It may feel a little weird at first, but once you get the hang of it, you can pinch and pick up food as however you please. Now that we know how to use chopsticks, we can get into the etiquette. We've all heard of someone getting in trouble because they had their elbows on the table. This is kind of the same thing because it's a different culture. There are certain gestures and movements that you should avoid doing because it could insinuate rudeness or being disrespectful. The first thing you should not do is, if you have a bowl, you should not put them vertically. This could represent death as it resembles incense burning. Second thing you should not do, if you guys have ever seen Korean barbecue, they have many different plates with different foods. So if you want to get food, you should pick up the food, put it in your plate, and then eat it. You should not just pick up and then eat. Lastly, if you need to put your chopsticks down for any reason, you should not just lay it on the table. You need to lay it across your bowl so that it doesn't touch the table. A common food in Asian culture is rice. Not all of us want to pick up rice individually by a single grain. So most cultures will actually take their bowl that they have their rice in and will put it up to their mouth and start shoveling it in, which is a lot easier than trying to pick me up with rice. A lot of people are intimidated and frustrated by using chopsticks. It just takes practice and proper knowledge. Hopefully after hearing the history, learning how to use them, and knowing proper etiquette, you'll feel more comfortable using chopsticks. Thank you.